Hi everyone, and welcome to today's staff briefing on Wednesday the 10th of June. Firstly, and as always, I hope that you and your loved ones remain safe and well during these uncertain times. Today you'll be hearing a little bit from myself, but I'll also be joined by a number of EMT members who will be providing an update around how they are seeking to mobilise and recover services over the coming months. This is in response to requests that we received as part of the recent staff survey. I've mentioned the word uncertainty at least once already. There doesn't seem to be a week that goes by whereby we're not receiving new advice, guidance, be it from the government, their advisors, or indeed our own regulator. And whilst over recent weeks that advice has been in support of easing of the lockdown, the Trust will, as always, ensure that it puts the safety of its staff and its customers at the heart of everything it does as we seek to ease our way out of lockdown. And you'll hear a little bit more about that, as I say, from members of EMT in a moment. As we do look to work out how we are best placed to come out of the lockdown as an organisation, we will be following four key principles. Those principles are ensuring we maintain the safety and compliance and well-being of our staff and customers. The second principle will be around maximising income for both the Trust and our customers. And I know many of you are doing lots of work in terms of supporting customers who currently are finding themselves financially worse off as a consequence of the COVID virus. The third principle will be about meeting housing need and how we as a Trust can support customers who, or future customers rather, who are currently in B&B or in temporary accommodation. And the fourth principle is around ensuring effective stakeholder communication. That's my weekly updates to you. It's virtual updates such as this. It's also the work we do weekly by providing our board with an update, and obviously the vast amounts of social media and written correspondence that we're providing to customers at these uncertain times to ensure they're aware of the services we're offering. I'll just pause there, and I'd like to now turn to a number of questions that I've personally received from staff, and I'll respond to them accordingly as best I can. The first question: will there be redundancy if our income drops because of COVID-19? First thing to say is redundancy is the absolute last resort for any organisation. The Trust is no different. There are various options that we would consider and seek to put in place before we were in a position to have to make anyone redundant. Retraining, reskilling people in order that they are able to be placed in perhaps vacant roles across the organisation, suspending recruitment, etc., etc. They're just a couple of the options that we would look to make and look to put in place before we were in the terrible and challenging and difficult position of having to look to make someone redundant. We would make sure all those things were exhausted before we got to that point. But we have to be realistic, and whilst the Trust has responded well up to now to the challenges faced by COVID, it would be impossible for me, or for anyone for that matter, in any organisation, I'm sure across the country, to say that they could rule out redundancies in the future. However, as I say, we're in a strong place at the moment, and redundancy would be absolutely the last resort that we would look towards. Second question: when will we be back in the office? Government advice still remains, if you can work from home, you should continue to do so. I think, as I've said in previous updates, we're in no rush to get back to the office, and indeed when we eventually do get back to the office, the work environment and how we go about working will be different as a consequence of all the learning and all the good practice and all the value in some instances that many of us have got from being able to work from home. So the work environment will look different, I'm sure, over the coming months, and indeed the project that we've got in order to refurbish the office It's almost back to basics in that regard, and to work with colleagues to find out, well, what does an office of the future look like? What do we need from that office moving forward? We will seek from July to start to reuse the office. There are some very, very basic tasks at the moment and some support that the office is providing to one or two teams as we look to remobilise during June. And we'll get back in July to a phased return to the office. There isn't, as I envisage, a time when we'll have 200 people back in the office at any one point in time. So we will seek to reopen the office in July, but teams and individuals will be going back there more on a rota basis. And I think we'll find that we'll be doing more of this working from home. That will become more of the norm in the future. So from July onwards, we'll start to relax access to the office, having put in place all of the recommended practices that government and health advisors are now saying around social distancing, around the sort of supplies of equipment and sanitation products that we'll expect to have in place for us all to use when we do get back there. So from July onwards, we see an easing of office restrictions, but it'll be for managers, heads of service, directors to work with colleagues to find out what works best.
Hello, hope you and your family are staying safe and well. Just want to talk to you very quickly about some of the work that's been done by the Finance and Business Services Directorate. The teams have been working throughout this lockdown period. Not been easy, it's been challenging for us all. I can't thank you enough for the work that you've done, for your commitment, your dedication. You've been really exceptional. I'm going to focus on three things: on our financial position, the work that we've done with income management, helping our customers to pay their rent, and the other work of some of the teams in the Directorate. So turning first to our finances, I'm pleased to report financially we're in a good position. The key thing of this is always about cash flow. It's been a challenging time. We've had more void properties than we normally have. We've seen a slight increase in rent arrears, and our shared ownership sales have come to an abrupt halt. However, that's been balanced by the fact that we started off with a good, strong cash balance. We've had the money from the government's furlough scheme, and we just haven't been spending as much as we normally would at this time of the year. My forecast going forward is that will remain the same. There will be challenges around our cash, but I still think we'll remain in a good, strong position. Finally, I just want to thank our finance team for the hard work that they've done in a really difficult situation, getting our financial statements ready to be audited. It's really important that we got those documents done, and I'm pleased to say they have been. Turning to income management. At the end of March and throughout April, we received we're inundated with calls from our customers who were concerned that they wouldn't be able to pay their rent. Quite often it is people that previously have never contacted us, never had rent arrears, and they've been in work and now find themselves in this difficult situation. I'm really pleased to say we were able to support them well, help them to increase their benefits, to get universal credit, sometimes to give them help through budgeting and managing their debts that they already have, and sometimes helping them to get a job and get into work. So real big thanks to our income management team, Money Matters, Support and Wellbeing, Employment Horizons and New Leaf teams. You did a great job, and I'm pleased to say that heavy workload now seems to have slowed down a little bit. We do think there will be challenges for us going forward with our customers, particularly when those customers that are on furlough come off furlough. We also anticipate there'll be a high level of job losses, and again that will cause challenges for us and for those customers to pay their rent. We'll continue to be there to support them through this difficult period. And finally, just to talk a little bit about the work of the other teams in the Directorate. We've all been working hard. Our legal team, supporting tenancy management and a number of issues, providing gas packs to make sure we do those very important gas safety checks, and lots of works with our leaseholders and on contract works that continue on through this period. Our human resources and organisational and development teams continue to work hard to support you and support our managers. Lots going on through this period. I'm really pleased with the work that they've done, in particular around furlough. I know it was a difficult time for people who were furloughed. Lots of hard work that was done by our HR team, and hopefully gave you the support. Big thank you to our union officials as well, who helped us through that period of time. So lots of work that's been done over the past 11 weeks. Some challenges ahead, but I think we've done really well, and that hasn't been by accident. It's because of lots of hard work and through our existing processes and procedures. We've learnt a lot. I think we'll continue to see us relying more and more on digital, less with that bits of paper, and be more flexible. Thanks for all that you've done. Stay safe and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Hi all, it's great to be with you today. I'm just going to start off by saying thank you to all of you for adapting to our new ways of working, for continuing to support our people and our customers. Huge thank you from me. Nobody posted a question for me, so I'm just going to talk through some of the work we've been doing in our directorate over the last 3 months. One of our major priorities is to meet housing need, and our lettings team have been working tirelessly to work with applicants to get them to offer stage, so that when the government said yes, you can move again, we were ready to get on with lettings, and that happened about 3 weeks ago. And last week the lettings team were out actively showing customers properties, and we started to let again last week. That's really important. We've got about 100 empty properties at the minute, so we're working with the Voids team to get those let. We've also been talking to Cheshire West and Chester to help them with their homelessness issues. They've got about 200 people in either hotels or bed and breakfast, so it's really important that where we can, we're offering accommodation to homeless people. Cotswold has carried on, going from strength to strength as always, working in the most difficult circumstances. And we've actually had 2 young women move out and 2 young women move in this period. They've had to socially isolate, but it's gone really well, so thank you for those teams in Cotswold. Our other big emphasis is about keeping our customers safe. So the staff in our independent living teams have been working virtually where possible to support our customers, but obviously the housekeepers have been tirelessly cleaning and all the compliance checks have gone ahead. Our tenancy enforcement team has worked where it can virtually to keep our neighbourhood safe. The number of antisocial behaviour complaints were quite low to start with, but I think you can all appreciate that people's tolerance is starting to go now, and so the number of cases are creeping up. And within this period, our neighbour enforcement team did get an ex parte injunction against one of our customers with severe antisocial behaviour. That's fantastic. It's the first time I've known that we can do that kind of work virtually. We've been busy supporting our customers as always, so the support and wellbeing team have been virtually contacting the clients they've been working with for some time, trying to keep them going and trying to keep those tenancies sustained. But I think you would have read or seen in the eye that we introduced a new service, which was our check-in and chat service, which people from across the trust, all staff helped initially. We had 1,700 customers that we identified were either over 70 or vulnerable and might need some support. And so from those check-in and chat calls, we were able to signpost them to other agencies. There's been some fantastic voluntary group work going on, and just really keep them going. Social isolation and loneliness has been a big issue for our customers, and we've now got that to below 100. So that's really good, and just shows the strength in the community out there. We've really had to work hard on our customer service because obviously it was great. We actually managed to move the switchboard to home working the day of lockdown. Did we ever think we would be able to do that? So that's been really fantastic. But our customer experience team have spent time obviously taking those emergency repairs and calls that you would expect, but unfortunately we've had to cancel many repairs as we've not been able to get into people's homes. So that's been a real focus of the team. We hope soon to be mobilising back up. It shouldn't be too long now before we can start planning to get back to do those responsive repairs. We haven't forgotten the future. We've had to concentrate on the now, but the team has been working really hard to get that technology in. We've been calling it the left-hand side for some time, but really it's just that technology which will help the team to be able to take those calls and run the processes through very swiftly and very cleanly. And it's something the team have wanted for a long time, and that comes up in a couple of weeks, so that's great. That's a really swift run through about what we're doing. I've not probably mentioned every team. There's been some real challenges out there around community engagement. While we've got social distancing, we can't run those events, we can't give that community support that we'd want to. But we feel as if we're now creeping forward and making small steps to getting back together again. So that's really it from me. Thank you again. I hope you and your families and loved ones stay safe, and I really hope to be seeing you face to face.
Hi everybody, Gareth Rigby here, Director of Property. I just wanted to post this video to give you an update on some of the work that the Property Directorate team have been doing to date during the pandemic, and also some of the work that we're going to be doing over the coming weeks in terms of recovery and remobilisation. I think first of all though, just a huge thank you following on from Wayne's comments in terms of the work that you've done as a group, the ability to continue to deliver key services to our customers, and the resilience of the organisation, I think, has been nothing short of fantastic. And I know I've said it to a number of individuals on some of our catch-up chats that we've had through Microsoft Teams, but really just to everyone, a huge thank you. The work that's been done to date has been nothing short of brilliant. It really has. I'm going to give you a couple of updates in terms of the work that we've done to date, and I have got some questions through from colleagues as well, which I'd like to go through each one of those and make sure I give a full response. So, first of all, our key response in terms of when the lockdown period commenced was to ensure that we could continue to deliver health and safety and compliance works to our customers' homes, to our ILA schemes, and ensure that we make sure that we have the ability to ensure that all of our regulatory and legislative requirements around health and safety works continued. Throughout the last few months, we're still at 100% in terms of our performance around our key areas of compliance: fire safety, gas, electrical, water hygiene and asbestos, which again has been nothing short of phenomenal in terms of the way that the teams have done collectively to ensure that we could gain access, to ensure that we could continue to deliver those services, and to ensure that we could make sure that we kept our customers safe. So our key priority was around health and safety and compliance works. Continue to do that now, and we've continued to remain at 100%, which again has been fantastic. Emergency works, emergency repairs have continued throughout the lockdown period. We're carrying out around about 90 emergencies per week, and they've continued, and our performance again has just been there about 100% on achieving target on all of those repairs, which again is just fantastic in terms of the work that the teams have done collectively. In terms of recovery and remobilisation, you would have seen over the last few weeks now that our development sites have started to open up, and we are starting to remobilise all of our sales and starting to get those sites back on programme. In terms of other works, the last 2 weeks now we've focused on empty homes in terms of ensuring that we could turn around those repairs as quickly as possible, and most of our resources being focused on that. And again, we continue to deliver emergency works and also compliance and health and safety work. Over the next couple of weeks now, we will start to carry out external works, things like pre-painting, external groundworks, and start on the backlog that we have, which leads to one of the questions that has come through to me. How long will it take for us to catch up our repairs that were stopped? So since the lockdown period, we've got around about 2,500 repairs at a suspended status, and we've received a small number of repairs from customers that we've logged and suspended at this point. So right now we've probably got a 3 to 4 month backlog in terms of responsive repairs, and we're looking to commence those over the coming weeks now. Another question I'll go to that has come through is why we're building new homes when we still haven't started our repair service. Well, you'd have noticed through the government guidance that all development sites were actually asked to continue throughout the lockdown period. All of our sites did stop at the want of our developers, but now they're in a position to remobilise. Our plan hasn't changed in terms of wanting to be an organisation that is a resolution to the housing crisis, which is still ongoing and which will likely get worse post this pandemic. And we believe that our plan hasn't changed there, and we want to continue to carry out our development sites. A lot easier in terms of mobilisation, working externally, limited interaction with the public, in fact none, and also around areas such as personal protective equipment. Those are supplied by our developers themselves, hence the ability for them to mobilise quicker than what we could with internal repairs. Following on, just reading another question which has come through. I've noticed other housing associations have started daily repairs. Why haven't we? Well, we took the decision that we wanted to focus on empty properties, void properties first, and we started those 2 weeks ago. And much of our resource in terms of the property directorate is focused on that for a number of reasons, but fundamentally because of housing need. Absolutely key that we're able to respond to housing need and that we're able to react as quickly as possible to ensure that customers, existing and new customers who are in desperate need, can be housed quickly. That's where our focus has been, to ensure that we turn those round quick and that we react to what is a growing need. Just another question which has come through as well is, how are we protecting our trade staff when they go out and work? Well, one of the key pieces of work that we've been doing as an EMT and SMT group through our BISCON catch-ups is reviewing all of the tasks that we carry out within the trust, not just through the property directorate team, and reviewing all risk assessments. If you haven't received a risk assessment yet in terms of the work that you're going to be coming back to do, you very soon will. We've done that in line with government guidance, guidance from the Health and Safety Executive, and also through external support that we have in terms of health and safety specialism. So we've revised all risk assessments, we've put those in place, and as I say, if you haven't received them, you soon will. And we've done a lot of work around personal protective equipment. That has been really, really challenging, and you would have seen through the press that all manufacturers of personal protective equipment redirected their resources to the NHS some weeks ago for all the right reasons, but that now has then become really, really challenging for us in terms of mobilisation and making sure that we can continue to deliver emergency works, compliance works, not at the risk of running out of PPE. We're now in a strong position in terms of that stock, and that continues to come through to us, so we're in a much better place than we have been previously. So how are we protecting staff? Revised risk assessments, which you will all receive if not already, increase personal protective equipment, and support in terms of information through your line managers and the Health and Safety Forum. That's probably it from me in terms of work that we're carrying out to date and that we have done. If there's any more questions, please do send them across to me. Anything in particular that you want to know in terms of the property directorate, what's happening, what's ongoing, please send those through. We will be posting a programme of works for the remainder of the year in terms of what the programme of work looks like and what our targets are, so everybody has access to that, so you can see what we're delivering, where and when, over the rest of this financial year. So again, just a massive thank you in terms of the support and the work that you've done to date, and I just would like to just reiterate that thank you, and ask everybody just to take care. Cheers, bye.
Hi, I'm Andrew Rafty. I'm the Director of Technology and Business Improvement here at Weaver Vale Trust, and I'd like to just extend my thanks to everybody involved at the Trust for their efforts and commitment in what's been a very challenging and difficult times in many ways over the last few months. I think it's been admirable the way that the Trust has shown that it can adapt and change and make decisions quickly and move quickly when it has to. And I think that that's also been reflected perhaps in how some of our customers and indeed colleagues have been willing to change their ways of thinking and working perhaps, and how they communicate. And I think when we look at the future and learn from what's happened in the last few months, that can be very much part of our approach, I think. So I'm responsible for both technology and business improvement, but part of my remit's business continuity. So I've been leading the group of EMT and SMT colleagues, plus a few other specialist advisors. We've been meeting usually 3 times a week, taking in the recent advice from the government, guidance, changes, and filtering that down through our teams to see how we can best accommodate what needed to be done. I think that primarily focused in the early weeks and months, as you can imagine, on just keeping the wheels turning and adapting the trust. But the focus has now shifted towards recovery and mobilisation. And we certainly have quite a task in the next few weeks, months, and the rest of the year, if not longer, working out how we adapt our services and how we adapt our offer and how we integrate and communicate with our customers. And I think one of the positives that probably has come out of this is that it's shown that our customers and indeed our colleagues are willing to make significant changes to how they work and how they communicate. And I think lots of us have seen the rise of things like Zoom and Teams being quickly adopted, and people being willing to use that technology as another tool in how we can get by. So I think that will feature very largely in our plans. In regards to the specific activity of my directorate, we do a number of things, and one of them is creating solutions and adapting existing solutions, and whether that can be quite small apps like something we've just delivered for the call-out management over weekends, manage some of that process, relatively quick and easy to do, to substantial company-wide enterprise solutions. And one we've been working on for quite some time is one called the left-hand side, which our customer experience colleagues will be using in a couple of weeks when it goes live, to navigate our systems and help our customers to a quicker solution for what they need when they call us through the contact centre. I think when that one is put to bed, we'll be looking at the materials supply chain and how we can process those orders and manage that information and improve the service for our customers as well as for our colleagues. So I think the team are often focused on change as our daily job, and I think that's an exciting place to be, an exciting time for the trust. But there's lots to be done. There's perhaps ways in we can work differently and think differently, and I think we need to take the positives of what happened, what has happened and is indeed still happening throughout the area, and see about how we can take the best of the operations and the activity that's been going on to get fit for the future and make sure that our colleagues are well supported, safe, and our customers continue to get the excellent service that we provide already. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you again for all your hard work and commitment, and take care. Cheers.
Hi everyone. Well, I hope you found the content of today's briefing informative, and the approach we've taken that bit more engaging. All that's left for me to do is, as always, to thank each and every one of you for your ongoing support and commitment to the trust, to our customers, and importantly to each other. Stay safe. Talk again soon. Cheers.